Masternoid is fucking brilliant.
Yay!
Alex, you were right.
I'm always right.
And I'm not even, I don't even mind saying it on this one. I do not mind. I don't know why you didn't mention it really properly or make a big deal out of it. If only you'd have spoke up a little bit, we'd have maybe played it all sooner.
I've hardly spoken about it at all. Hardly a word ever. No messages, no videos, no tweets, no I don't know what else. Memos, faxes. I mean, is there any other method of communication?
You're taking a developer out for a drink, aren't you, next week?
I think so.
Taking them out for drinks, yeah, bit dinner.
I should be taking you out for a drink, Alex. Jesus Christ.
Come on, let's get into this now. Let's review this damn game because we've all been playing it. As most of our Discord, I think we've managed to get on board with it. Oh God, it is really good, isn't it?
I'll make a little announcement as well. Okay. I platinumed it today.
There you go. So we can come to, for once, we can have a review from one of us, having actually finished and played the game and can have cohesive, complete thoughts on a game. That makes a first for cross-button VR. And
professionals.
Yeah, what a game to make it. I just, for people that haven't been paying attention or haven't checked it out yet, it's really kind of stylish, kind of neon, kind of like almost like Tron, kind of voxely type graphics, and you are like block breaker style game where you are, but the quirk is you've got a ray gun and you can direct the ball where you fire it using the ray gun, and you can shoot the ball back. So it's kind of like a sort of ping pong shooting block breaking type game, with lots of score chasing and special attacks and multi balls and things. So almost like a pinball as well. There's kind of a bit of a pinball element to it as well. And it is just so addictively fun to play. It has that puzzle, well, it's not really a puzzle game, but that sort of thing where you just get in the zone playing it and just so absorbed and focused, and time just slips away and you just crack away level after level.
But I'd almost say that see, when you do mention puzzle, and I've kind of had this back and forth with a couple of people now, like there is almost a puzzle element to it, like the further in that you get, and like if you're trying to go for those 3 stars, because you need to approach some of the levels in a completely different way to get the 3 stars. It's like it's not like there's one approach fits all for each of the levels. I've found it's like you need to be quite strategic, and if you get certain power ups, you might not want to use them, or you might not want to. You need to really think about how to build the score, and I think that's really intelligently done. And a lot of people have been like, "Oh, it's just your luck and what power up you get." And like, it's not actually, because you might think that in the early levels, and you get to some of the later levels, and you're like, "I could finish this with 4 balls and not get the score I need for 3 stars." Like you really start to think about it the further in you get there, and I think it's just so good. That's what keeps me engaged with it.
It's very apparent to me that you are playing a different game to me when I see the scores you're getting. I'm like, how the fuck is he getting scores like this? And like, I'll score like, I played a level today where I didn't drop a single ball, and I got a trophy for not wasting a ball. I was like, oh yeah, go me, I'm going to have a good score on this. It was like 9,000. And then I saw it was like 30,000, and where I'm scoring 30,000, you get 300,000. I'm like, what is he doing? Like, how is he playing this game? And the video that you posted on our Twitter feed just is kind of the majestic, the skill here. You must be one of the best people in the world at this game, frankly. It's just, you are so good at it.
The elite.
Yeah, you are in the top tier.
I don't know about that, but I mean, I think I've kind of, I wouldn't say perfected it. I've maybe just been very persistent with it. I think it's maybe the way of putting it.
You've treated it like an Elden Ring boss, and you've just gone and you've just perfected it. Because I think they're at the very. I think the 3 of us are probably at slightly different levels. Because like I'm at the point where obviously I'm not dropping a ball, like I'm not losing any lives at any point ever, but at the same time I'll get to like 4 balls, the maximum, and I'm just aiming at them. I'm not like trying to get the balls anywhere. I'm just like, right, shoot that one, shoot that one, shoot that one. It's almost like quite hard to describe for people. So when you were describing, I'm not saying you did a terrible job of describing Alex, and it's your fault that we didn't play it. But
I mean, that is definitely the case.
Yeah, that is the case. But it is quite hard to imagine like a 3D kind of breakout Arkanoid, how does that work kind of thing, like with the aiming. I couldn't quite picture it. So it's yet again another one of those VR games that's like you have to play it. And I think with this one, it's such a reasonable price that if you are on the fence, or if you're listening or watching this and you're going, all right, well, I kind of trust these guys, I would say it is worth that little punt.
And what is the price spin?
$11.99.
And there is a demo though, so people can take a punt for free. That's no problem. And on that 3D space thing, so just to try and make it a bit clearer, still, you're in a cube, and obviously the side facing you is open, and if the ball comes out of that, you kind of lose the ball, you lose a life. So you've got 5 sides of the cube, the inside sides of the cube, to bounce the ball off of, to then try and hit the blocks that are in the middle of this 3D space. So you're ricocheting the balls around, and as you say, you get as you progress through the level, as long as you don't die, you get a second ball and then a third ball, so it's like becomes like a pinball multi-ball type thing, and up to 4 balls, and then by that point it gets so speedy and frantic, and each time you get an extra ball, the camera zooms out and the music just goes up a notch and builds extra layers of it, and it's so freaking cool. The music in this game makes it. It's this kind of, how would you describe it, Ben? Because you're the musical kind of person here. But it's
I don't know, because there's a few different genres. Some of it is really chilled out, almost like jazzy, but then it just kicks in, and then suddenly a beat comes in. But
it kind of, for me, it feels like almost like an 80s synth. You can imagine it being the soundtrack to parts of Stranger Things. It has that kind of vibe to it, and it feels, in a weird way, stylistically, and the aesthetic is very Stranger Things. How it's that very kind of feels very 80s arcadey, like the sort of thing you can imagine the kids in Stranger Things playing, and the music of it. And that sounds strange. I don't want them to think, it's like Stranger Things, but it's just that kind of aesthetic and feel to it. It's very kind of retro. It just feels like an arcade game, in the purest possible sense. I think the only downside I found with that sort of music that develops as you get more balls and stuff like that, if you ever go, I feel like it loses a bit of the energy. So if you've nearly cleared a level, but then you lose a ball and you're back down to 1 ball, it does take a bit of the tension away from it, because it goes back to like just being the basic level music, and then you're just like, oh come on, like it almost becomes a slog towards the end when you're at that level. Obviously, Alex, I'm talking a foreign language to you because you've got 4 balls constantly, judging by your scores. But there's a couple of times like that where it's been a bit like, all right, I've just got 1 ball, I just need to get through this now. But as a like general rule, it's just fun. It reminds me of, I don't know if you guys remember, Alex, this might have been before your time, but back in the Switch Island days, the Switch Island podcast, came back.
There was a game called Ding Dong XL, which was a very, reasonably priced game, very simple game, but we all got completely wrapped up in it because it just ticked that box that it pressed everyone's buttons, and it had the kind of score chasing element to it, and it reminds me of that. How like we're all competing against each other. Very simple game, but very expertly executed. And Alex, thank you for ramming it down our throats for weeks on end, because we finally listened.
I'm just glad it was worth it, because I genuinely, like, when I started playing this game, I was like, this is brilliant. Like, it's just so, as you say, it's so simple, so addictive, so well done. And I think it's even like, it's just that very slight flick of the wrist to get the ball going in the right direction, and all of it. And it's like, as you say about the music there, Ben, when you drop a ball, like, I've got to teach, if you drop a ball, you start again. Like, it's you don't if you lose a ball, you're like starting that level again, because there's no point. You know, at that point, I'm not hitting that score if I don't start again. Like, so you just, and
I did wonder, because to get the platinum, you have to get 3 stars in every level, basically. Yeah. I've got 70% of the trophies at the moment, which is not bad for a week's work. But yeah, I can't. There's some of them I'm like, how the hell do you get 3 stars in this? I think I've got 2. I've got 2 or 3 in all of them, and I need to get, because basically, like kind of like a Mario game where you have to get X amount of stars to unlock the next world. I'm now at the stage where I need to get 3 stars on a few of them, and I'm just like, it is tough. I'd like to like finish the game, but I can't envisage ever platinum it.
I think you could.
Really?
I think you could get to that stage. But I think the other thing that I really like about it, and we've probably not really mentioned, is just some of the silly designs of each of the levels. Like whether it's a pineapple, or if it's a strawberry, or it's a bee, or it's like a robot, or just all these random little things, like just the mind that come up from these three guys at Pixel Magnet that have made this game. And you're just like, what a good job they've done.
Yeah, and I'm not seeing anyone talk about it at all. Like, I've had a little Google around for reviews. There's like no reviews for it whatsoever, and I just think it's one of those. You know, we talk about like VR, like wow experiences all the time. This isn't that, but it's like this is a cool game that just couldn't exist in any other. Obviously, you know, Brick Breaker games exist and have existed for decades, but in this way, you can't explain it. You can't really feel the game until you play it. It's really, really, really good. And Laurie, I think you were wrong.
I never said I didn't think it was a good game. I said I'd never heard of the game. I said I heard of the game. I never heard of the game, which is true. And I think it's.
Was it technically
part
true?
of the problem that is this has been so much coming out recently for it, just struggling. I mean, there are games that are getting lost, so I hope we can do the game a service of getting it out there. I know some of the people on our Discord have also been listening to Pod the last few weeks and listened to Alex talking about it, and have given it a go, and they're also enjoying it as well. So yeah, for anyone listening, I know there's many people now that listen to the pod, which is brilliant. Please just try the demo of this game and have a punt on the £12, because it is just it's such a simple yet fun, and it's such a brilliant arcade game. A really great demo of what
and you will lose time to this game. You will, like, absolutely will.
Yeah, it does disappear.
It's one of those that hours just disappear and you haven't even realised.